two step.
Excuse me.
And action.
Let me just make sure that's off.
Phones off, pencils down, lunchtime. Thanks everyone for joining us. This is very cool to be welcoming you to this webinar event. Neil Macdonald from Fairway Financial.
Rex Urwin from MindMatters.
Me.
Me.
Oh, didn't realise that. MindMatters.me. Hey, Rex and I did a similar webinar, a bit of a tease at the end of last year, and around this same topic of your money mindset and how that influences where you are right now, and if you want to be somewhere else in the near future or in the future, you're going to have to address that. And I referred to you last year as a mind architect, as a
funky term.
Funky term, yeah. What would I mean by that, if I'm using that to describe you, Rex?
Our life's work is about releasing or assisting people to get the essence of their potential, to do their bidding in life. So in all the contexts of a person, be it in their work life, in their home life, as an individual, in their relationship life, there is a me they bring, an I they bring to those worlds. And when that I is aligned in agreement with the idea of themselves, it seems to work really, really well. Or we end up in a world where there's the me who's trying to get out and the idea of self that sort of learned some ways of operating that get them results they don't want. And there's an argument. So I'm in this continual argument with myself, and I'm trying to get on the line. So us is to get the argument within ourselves into agreement, and so that there's harmony within, and then create your business, create your money, create your relationship, create your life.
One of our good buddies talks about. I'll ask you to get his phrase right, but he talks about taking the responsibility for your dream or your future. What's Tony? Tony, if you're watching.
Tony. Yeah, right. Responsibility is the ability to respond, or responding with ability.
Yeah.
And that gets you the greatest results. So it's not just a matter of being a good guy doing the right thing, responsibility. Yeah. It's about responding with ability, which is a big part of creating a successful life.
Yeah. And it's I would take that even further as to the work that I've done with you over 10 years. It's about learning the techniques and the tools and how to respond. Is that responding with ability. But I was actually thinking of Tony's quote, something like, if you're
only I can create my dreams. Only I can make my dreams come true.
That's the one.
Yeah. That's right. That was a profound moment.
Yeah.
That was a big one.
That's part of that is responsibility, taking that on.
Yeah.
And then learning the tools
and owning, like only I can make my dreams come true, is going, you know what, I gotta own this. And there's people, I've got my staff, and I've got my partner, and I've got this, and I've got that, and I've got all of it. And you go, yeah, but really, only you can make what you really want happen.
Yeah.
With support. But when you really own that, support will turn up in quite good ways.
Yeah. And you also get the concept when you think about that is that you're the only one that can stop yourself.
Yeah.
And that's why we do these patterns.
Why would you stop yourself when you can have what you want?
Well, you can be safe where you
are.
Yeah,
safe, getting in my own way.
And you blame everybody.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's got a whole set of results.
Yeah.
They sort of suck.
Oh, sometimes.
That's a professional word.
Yeah. So the concept today is talking around these things and money. And money will occupy a lot of thought for a lot of people almost every day.
Yeah.
When you go and buy something yourself, there'll be a thought process around whether you're just tapping your card or whether you're worried about whether it's going to bounce or not, or you'll be feeling good about yourself when you buy things. You'll see a car drive past or something that you wish for, and that will also trigger things daily. You'll see somebody else have something that you think that you want, and that will also set up a pattern and a habit and a mind neurocode, if I could use your trademarked terminology. So for some people, money can be stressful. Sometimes money can be a craving, and for some people, they're cool, calm, and confident with it. And those, depending on where you're at, also gives your body a healthy or unhealthy response. And over time, that can be a good thing or not so good thing. So I'm going to make an assumption that the people listening to us today, if I admit another one, people listening to us today, hand to mouth, money is there for the basic needs of life. And I'm going to make an assumption that people are perhaps interested in where they are and where they might want to get to in terms of money. Some people seem to have this and some, I've got that, but I'm doing okay. It's just about evolving, perhaps. So I'll make that assumption. And there's a bit of that saying that people know, success leaves clues. So
Yeah.
some people have studied a lot on what makes people tick and what works and what doesn't. I picked up this, the structure which we've used in the intro here around the three concepts of structure, order, and appreciation for money. I picked that up from Kerwin Ray last year when I did his thing. And I thought they were good concepts for financial planning, structure, order, and appreciation. But I recognised that there was a lot more to those areas that if you're really going to make change in your life, then they're things that need to be dug into a bit further. So if I may, internet stable, ooh, okay. Sometimes in financial planning structures, we think about companies and trusts and doing budgets and that sort of thing. And there's an element to that. But also the structure around where money comes from and how it flows to people and some people. Can you make some comment around structure and what you see, if I call them successful people with money versus unsuccessful people with money, even though their worlds may be different?
Yeah, absolutely. It's an incredible area. The word money itself can bring up all sorts of emotion and or feelings and ideas. So we have a relationship with it. Mm-hmm. Like any relationship, a good relationship needs to be in harmony, not idealistic harmony, as in we're all fluffy all the time and everything. It's just that in enough harmony as a foundation to be able to agree, disagree, perturbate, and work it through to great outcomes. So we say great lives are designed.
Yeah.
And people with a sense of defined outcome are people that tend to have a purpose for money. So your money, I've noticed in my humble relationship with it over the years, is requiring, it needs a purpose in your life. A lot of people, money's there, I earn it, and it sort of pays for stuff, and it's this sort of, well, it's there and I'll buy something, I'll have a holiday, I better save it, but sort of there. But when we connect with it, it needs a purpose as an energy. We need to direct it and give it purpose. Seems to take on a different relationship. And life needs purpose, money needs purpose in itself.
Yeah. But just as you were saying that, I drew it yesterday on a whiteboard for a client, and I borrowed it. I mentioned Tony before, but I borrowed it from another person we know, Sandra, from the Sunshine Coast.
Ah, indeed.
And it's referring to, she calls it the fate ratio. So FATE stands for when your money comes in, your income comes in, where's it going? You're responsible for it, and your fate, FATE, is in your hands.
Wow.
So how much are you putting into your future out of your income? How much is accommodation costs, owning a home or renting, that sort of thing? Tax, that happens out of income.
Yeah.
And E is the expenses. So what do you actually get left over that you can do all your day-to-days and holidays and that sort of thing?
Yeah.
And it's interesting when you play it out on the board like that and you give it structure, you can see, geez, I'm paying 30% tax and I'm not doing it, I'm doing 10% savings. What if there's a way that we can move some money out of tax and into savings? So it's not changing your income, but you're getting a much better outcome for your future.
And the way you distribute it into those areas.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dictates. I mean, it's said, and Napoleon Hill talks about it, I've read about it, and all sorts of great wisdoms around very, very, very successful people with money, is it not only needs a purpose, like, for example, there are sayings like, pay yourself first.
Yeah, yeah. Richest man in Babylon, 10%.
Yes, yeah. A part of everything you earn is yours to keep.
Yeah.
So I think smart money is requiring attention And if you love it, like if you love a child and you nurture it and you take care of it, and you start to put, you don't need a huge income to become well off. You need to learn how to purpose it, and love it and distribute it to become well off. So there's many examples of people who have earned very little, building enormous wealth by understanding the principles of compound interest, but also purposing it and living within your means. So we go, well, live within your means. But we've evolved into a culture that can borrow beyond your means, and you live on that false economy, as is countries have, where they live on a false economy of they owe more than they have. I mean, wouldn't it be good to have a printing machine?
Right.
And you just print more.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I don't think any countries or anyone would do that in the world of financial acumen. But some people behave like it's just print more.
Yeah.
And borrow more and use a credit card and I owe this and owe that. So the incongruence set up there is a reflection of what we mentioned earlier on about what we do, which is helping people align with the idea of themselves, building agreement with that, and then getting money as a purpose, and we call it 10 other dimensions. Or there's
so it's going to
10
go,
dimensions.
I was going to go to that in that we talked about structure, or the headline, structure, order, and appreciation. And around order, that's where I was perhaps going to ask you about the 10 dimensions. There's not the 10 dimensions of money, it's the 10 dimensions of wealth that I've heard you and Catherine at Mind Matters talk about. So economic or monetary is just one aspect of those 10 dimensions.
So wealth is a structure of 10 dimensions, and it's an order. Yeah,
it fits into the structure.
Yeah, and money is 1/10.
And what about people that are chasing money or put money as a priority versus what are the other 10 dimensions, or some of the other 10 dimensions?
Some of the others are your work on yourself, so inner life, my personal development, my relationship with myself. And then there's health, and there's family, and there's career, separate from economic, because sometimes people, and this is, they'll go for my career, I want to do my career, but my career that I'm looking at can't make money. So, I won't do it, I'll do something that can make money and I'll sacrifice. So we separate them as career, economic, adventure lifestyle, friendships, intimacy, contribution giving. So there's 10 worlds, and they need to be taken care of. So happiness, joy, a sense of well-being comes from the 10 dimensions being managed, including the distribution of money.
I heard it's cool because I've done the circle, or the 10 dimensions of wealth in a circle, and measured on a scale of 0 to 10 where you think you are, or how you feel about that right at that time. And sometimes the wheel's a bit skewed or bent or broken and stuff like that. And I've sort of had the idea that I like the word balance for myself over the years. And I heard the other day the concept of, well, balance sometimes that's what we're going for, but sometimes balance the way to get to balance is to hang on.
Yeah, right.
Like, what balance, hang on, going too far. But actually balance is actually about letting go. Does that have any resonance with your thoughts around balance and harmony? It's not sticking or staying or trying, it's letting it go. Allowing,
yeah. So jump in the net will appear. Could be a good idea or a really bad idea.
Jump off the cliff and then you'll learn how to fly, is that?
Yeah. So the good idea of it is when you align the 10 dimensions and you align your values and your purpose, or in other words, your great, beautifully designed life, and you live according to those equations that we teach, that then once you're in that, your parachute is a part of your being. So you can then dance like no one's watching, And of course, you need to have some structure and thought and what we call ecology. And you don't have to hold on tight for fear of falling,
No.
because you're well balanced and you can fly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think once those things are in place, but a lot of people put their attention on looking for balance through structuring the external world. And of course, the external world isn't as well. If you look for structure, if you look for safety, balance, sturdiness through having a new car, through a beautiful house, through all of the having or your title, those things can change.
Yeah.
If your internal, which is one of the 10 dimensions, your inner being is taken care of and your personal development and sense of self is strong, then that is always intact. And then you bring yourself to those other areas as that balanced being.
Yeah.
Tends to work better. And these are abstract concepts, but there is a lot more detail involved in getting to them once you start to enter the world of how do I become who I was born to be.
Yeah. And not only, when you can jump and then without the net, because you now learn how to fly,
Yeah.
it's the when you're in your purpose, if I call it that, then things start to appear. Your awareness heightens. And similarly around money, like people that have money seem to make more money, because they have an alignment and an intention with it, and so more opportunities seem to.
Opportunity comes to success.
Yeah. When there's an order, when it's in order.
Or opportunity comes to a well-oiled me. So we recognize integrity, word is law in a person. We recognize great character, and there's an attraction to that.
Yeah.
So it looks like it's attracted to the success, which can look like the success is just money. But when you look behind the money or the structure of the character who's producing it, if it's done in integrity, the money not only stays and grows, it has character.
Yeah.
And it's attractive to hang around.
Yeah. Well, you've been kind enough to come into our Fairway offices today.
I love coming here.
No, you're real cool.
Any excuse to come.
Oh, thank you. And in these rooms, in this room or out of the meeting rooms, we've had people come in the last couple of years in their 60s, one looking to retire. And our word was they've just lived very frugally. Like they've both been employees all their working lives, raised kids, paid off their house, had other houses, and they have more money than they'll ever spend in their retirement.
Well done.
And they, in fact, we can't get them to spend money. Like they're just so ingrained in that. So perhaps they're missing out on some experiences that money can be used for.
Is that part of that whole, is that an example of where they're holding on? And they've got all the money, but
I think they're super, super happy with
they're living a great life.
Yeah.
So they've found a balance in that way.
Yeah.
So they're meeting their own.
Yeah,
okay, cool.
But I was going to,
beautiful.
I was going to compare it to another couple in their 60s who have come in and second marriage for both, and they have a lot of credit card debt each, and they won't talk to each other. We're not allowed to mention that to others.
The elephant in the room.
The elephant in the room, and it's just, they've drive some very nice cars, they take nice holidays,
right?
And yet it's not as congruent behind.
So there's disharmony if you look closer.
Yeah.
We're not talking about some of these things.
Yeah.
I don't want to look.
Probably at themselves either, as well as each other.
Well, and you'll find that as paramount.
Yeah.
Is they're probably not looking at the dimension of the 10 of inner life, self.
Yeah.
Looking in the mirror and going, how you doing, dude?
We'll do that.
Yeah, you need to have a good relationship with the guy in the mirror.
Yeah.
And the girl.
Yeah. The a couple of times there we've mentioned, I've heard us talk about language, like the things that you're saying to yourself, and the look in the mirror is honesty. And what's some of the things that if people are sort of watching us and thinking, what's my attitude or relationship mindset with money? Some things that people say in a good way, perhaps, or things that you hear people say in a not so good way about their relationship with money.
Money's hard. Yeah.
So people sometimes tend to talk, is it anecdotally? Is that the right word? Like it's always like that, or how you always like they won't say I do this or I've done that.
Right.
It's always it's just commonplace, but
They
it's actually
dissociate.
not. Yeah, is that the responsibility thing we were talking about before?
Yeah. In my skin, comfortable in my skin.
Yeah.
Is building the relationship with self. You can recognize, it's easy for us to recognize in a conversation, in a confidential conversation with somebody who we're trying to help, through their languaging and the way they frame money or frame what's going on in their life. You can hear the dissociation through, well, when you and where they're happy in themselves, there'll be I.
Yeah.
And so the languaging, structure of languaging that they're using unconsciously, competently, because we're not thinking about the word we're going to use next, tends to communicate, if you know how to recognize it, how they're framing their reality. So if we're talking about money with somebody, it doesn't take long to get a sense of, through the metaphors they use and the words they use, the relationship they have with money. And then you can see that reflected in the circumstance.
Yeah. It has to. Yeah.
It has to.
Yeah.
So getting that relationship.
If you want to be a millionaire, you've got to think like a millionaire.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, it's a way of being.
You're where you are right now because of how you're thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. So the hardest relationship of all is the one with self. And then there's that, all I need is to get everybody on side. But the one person I really need to get their permission won't talk to me. And it's myself.
Won't talk in that way. It'll talk this way.
Well, there's lots of chatter, but it's sort of derogatory.
Is it the ego?
Yes.
Ego?
Yeah. Freud would say.
Oh, okay.
And he knew so.
Who's that guy? Who do you call that guy? That's
Roger.
Roger. Not Federer.
Not Federer. Very.
Imagine he's got a good relationship with money.
Well, he has a lot of money flow through his life.
Yeah.
Maybe some of it stays. But that will also depend on the relationship. And I say this with great seriousness because it's real. And it can sound very obvious as psyche talk, or it's pop psych talk, or it's just, abstract, or it's a bit fuzzy. And when we really notice the relationship people have with anything, and we're talking money as a metaphor here. Yeah. When people talk about money and you look at the circumstance of their money, no judgment, you will see their relationship with themselves being represented. So they have a fear relationship with money, or they have a hesitant, non-deserving relationship with money, or they have a frivolous relationship with money. Oh, yeah. And you'll find they do that in life and not understand that they're causing it through their relationship with themselves.
Yeah. And that's the great work that you and Catherine and the Mind Matters team do, is to help people to go back and find out where that sort of started. Where did you form those views? Are they somebody else's views that you've taken on board at an impressionable or more impressionable time? And then check it as to whether you get to a certain age and you go, well, is that true for me now? Or is there another way that I could perhaps view my circumstances?
So that's right, and maybe a way for people listening and playing in this lovely forum, a really fun way of, or not fun, depends how you look at it, but a playful way, which is authentic way of looking, is look at your money, look at the world that you have around the world of money and its relationship with you. I mean, whether there's a plenty and abundance and flow, or it's hard, or it's struggling, or there's none left, or we're past and there's nothing, and these days you can go way past zero.
Load up.
Yeah, that's right. So if you look at that, then go, okay, look at that, and then look and get a sense of, what am I believing about money? What's my relationship with money? And you'll find a correlation.
Yeah.
And so the work can be going out and trying to find more money, but the same thing will keep happening until you change your relationship with it. So it's more powerful to go, I need to take a look at the way I do money, or relationship or the way I do me.
Yeah. Yep.
And that goes for relationships with our intimate partners, friends, life.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah.
And if I'm not
And
giving, there's not a whole lot coming in.
The law of attraction.
Yes.
Yep. Natural law.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. And I think that's a nice lead into the third point of appreciation. So appreciation for money, but also the relationship. And those who have had relationships will understand if there's a needy, wanting kind of person in your world, there's a tendency to eventually start to back away from that in some cases.
Yeah, so I sense it.
Yeah, and I would expect that it's the same with a relationship with money. If there's too much need, too much focus on it, then that's going to, money can be seen as the same sort of thing.
Almost like a desperate need.
Yeah, rather than an allowing.
So you're saying, like, if somebody comes in and they're a desperate, needy sort of energy or the way they operate, we can pick that up and it sort of repels us from.
Yeah.
And so what they're looking for gets even further away from
you. Yeah. Like the two magnets with the poles together. It's like, I want it. You keep going away from me.
So the word appreciation is a beautiful play on words around money.
It is, because it's money going up and growing and
taking care of, caring for, spending time with.
Respect, we talked earlier. Yeah.
Managing, keeping, saving.
Yeah.
It's said by the great wealth, many people, like the great, magnates of the past have often said, if you can't save, you can't get wealthy. It's not about how much you save. There's a structure to your relationship with yourself and the deservedness of putting some aside.
Yeah.
And you can see it. You deserve to keep some.
Totally agree. Well, it's a bit hard to give to others if you don't give to yourself.
Yeah, that's right. It's a relationship.
Yeah.
How are you nurturing yourself?
How you do one thing is how you'll do many things.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. So if people who are tuning in, we're coming in close to a half an hour as promised.
Time goes so fast.
Time goes so fast. I watched a Warren Buffett thing. So the most successful investor in the world the other day on YouTube, and it was a few years old, this thing, but he knew that he had 4,000 days, but average life expectancy, he had 4,000 days left on the planet. So it was a while ago. And so he said to a reporter, I've only got this much time to give you based on the things I want to get done.
So let's get to it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Time doesn't.
And time, actually, funny. Time's another sort of an area of wealth. I haven't got time. I haven't got time to put time into me. I haven't got time to really put time into my money.
Yeah.
I haven't got time. And
I'll do it then.
Yeah, but you run out.
I'll do it.
I'll do it then. I'll do it tomorrow. And you put it off. But time is a sacred wealth.
We often talk about that with our clients when they come in to say you need to, if you make some action or take some actions when you're in your 30s, 40s, your future self will thank you for doing the hard yards now.
Yeah.
Like future pace it out there. Don't just wake up at a future age 60 and go, so how does this work now? I want to get out of my working time, retire, whatever retirement looks like. But you've got to take steps along the way, for most people.
And put down a good foundation. Yeah. Which the 10 dimensions are.
10 dimensions, great foundation. Yeah.
Well, you're in the money business. You teach people, you guys at Fairway, really bringing their consciousness to pay attention to putting really good structures in place. Yeah,
that's a great lead in. I was just going to, very quickly, I don't know whether you've even seen this, but this is our financial cube, our Fairway financial cube. And it is a structure. I was thinking about that earlier.
It is indeed.
So it's a cube, but it refers to the 6 key elements that all financial planning should be across. And I'll just very quickly say it's your income, how you're using it, what's your future, what's your retirement plan looking for, what's your goals, where you're going. That helps us to help figure out the right investments to get you there. Debt for a lot of people, sometimes you can have a noose around your neck too much, but other people can use it very effectively. If you've got those 4 things in order, you can start to grow wealth. So that's the growth. And then over the top, we look at the protection. So making sure that if something happens to you, these plans still come to fruition. If I get this right at the bottom, it's the estate plan. So it's got to pass at some stage. We all don't have we're all getting out of the game at some stage. We just don't know when. So if you look at those 6 key elements, that's proper, what we think is proper holistic financial planning. And if we look at one of those things, then it's not looking at all of them. It's like the 10 dimensions. If you're focused on one thing, it may be a bit loose around it. You could be a super achiever in this area, but maybe not have real success. I'd call it that.
And where we're hurting more often than not is not getting attention.
Where we're hurting is not getting attention.
Yeah, we're not caring for it.
Because we push it aside.
Yeah, I haven't got time for it. I'm too busy. So if you look at the 10 dimensions and models like that, the cube is great. People put a lot of attention on career and economy in terms of making money, working hard. Yeah, and then you look at the other areas of their life and go, how they're going, and you go, they're being neglected. Not because you don't care, because you're putting far too much time into one dimension.
Yeah.
So it's really important to take a look, like you do with your cube, at those areas and just check the condition of them.
Yeah.
And then everything starts to change.
Yeah, one lines up.
Yeah. But there's one cube, which is me. My I, how am I doing?
Oh, yeah.
What's your relationship with self? You know, I suck or I'm awesome. Well, I prefer to be awesome. And you're awesome.
Oh, thank you.
10 years.
Yeah, 10 years we've been working together. Rex mentioned earlier, you can find him at mindmatters.me.
Yeah.
And one-on-ones that I've done with you over the years, retreats where we get together for a couple of days in groups. A lot of learning, online.
Deep dives.
Online stuff, so you can listen in and get all the right messaging and learning going on. So I encourage anybody who hasn't done that to do that. Thank you so much for today and the last 10 years and whatever we're going to do together next.
I so look forward to what that is, the world of possibility. Can I say one thing?
Yes.
Can I be just a really brief genius?
Go.
If you look at a child and you give that child attention and nurturing and listen and nurture and encourage, it's pretty obvious what happens to them. If you neglect them, it's pretty obvious what happens to them. And we are those children evolved. And if we give ourselves attention and really work on it, we flourish. And if we neglect, because we haven't got time ourselves, we get those results. It's so simple.
That's cool. Yeah. And it's also what we would argue is the reason why people should have financial planners in their life.
Yeah.
To check back in and just from time to time. It's not always in your face, but it's having somebody to have a look in the mirror with us.
Yeah.
No judgment.
Absolutely.
Just,
You need a good coach.
Great coach. Thanks everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Thank you. So much fun.
I'd love to hear anything, comments, wherever you're viewing this. If you want anything further, sing out to Fairway Financial or mindmatters.me.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Macca.
Peace out.
See ya. Cheers.